Happy Friday, America. Welcome to the Discussion Combustion Production YouTube channel. We are so excited to be back with you, and thank you for your support and tuning in. My name is Arthur, and you know that was the Frickin' Shinnas with the Happy Friday anthem. Let's bring it in, baby. I'm so excited. Across the table from me is my man, Kevin. If you ain't 10 minutes early, then you're late. Batstone.
Happy Friday, America. And if you're in the Colorado area, you're digging out of a blizzard this morning, but you know what? The show goes on. The weekend's here. We're going to warm up a little bit. Let's go, Art.
Yes, sir. And what we're going to jump off this episode with, of course, is Today in History for March 15th. So we're going way, way back on this first one. 44 BC, Julius Caesar is assassinated. He's stabbed to death, as most of us already know, by Brutus, Cassius, and several other Roman senators on ideals of the March of Rome. So that's interesting. I was not expecting to see that when it popped up, so I had to throw
2,068 years ago.
Yeah, that's a long, long time. 44 BC, that's the furthest today in history we've had.
That is.
Back in time. 1783, in an emotional speech in Newburgh, New York, George Washington asks his officers not to support the Newburgh Conspiracy. I wasn't too sure what that is. The plea was successful, and the threatened coup never takes place. So what the Newburgh Conspiracy is that it was Congress's long-standing inability to meet its financial obligations to the military.
Wow.
And so through that, they were wanting to do a coup, and George Washington, you know, the dude had a silver tongue.
Amazing.
Yes, sir.
Great history.
Yes, sir. Moving forward to Finland, 1907. Finland is the first European country to give women the right to vote. And since this is Happy Friday, America, I want to do a side note.
Yeah.
Where was America at with this? So...
1920?
Yep, certified in 1920, but after being introduced into Congress in 1878. So it sat there for quite some time before it actually got pushed through.
They pulled alcohol and said women can vote. It was a crazy time.
Crazy times to be alive, and I'm sure more chaos is to come, as always.
That I can guarantee you.
1913, the first presidential press conference held by Woodrow Wilson.
Yep.
And then I had to bring some nuke news on the Happy Friday, baby. And look, there was a bunch of nuke news this week. However, I'm just going to narrow it down to the biggest thing here, and that's from the USSR. They performed an atmospheric nuclear test. And we've said this region before. I'm not going to butcher it again for the audience today. But the crazy thing about this test is it was the 36th total test of 1958 from the USSR alone. So that's 36 tests total in 1 year. And that got me to thinking, Kev, how many nuclear tests have actually been performed?
Of all time.
Yeah, of all time.
Collectively,
worldwide. What do you think?
2,800.
2,800 is not a bad guess. So it's a little less. It's just over 2,100.
Okay.
Since 1946.
Went a little high.
Yep. So just a little high, but that's still a massive amount.
That's a lot of
explosions.
testing. That's a lot of testing and boom booms.
That is.
That's some nuke news.
That is nuke news, baby. What we got next?
All right, let's keep it moving. Surprisingly, this article did not come out of Florida. This is out of Nebraska. I was as shocked as you are. All right, so we got double swiping rewards cards for gas that finally caught up to somebody, Art. There's always a loophole in everything. You can take advantage of systems. You can find the discounts. You can do all that. But apparently there was a woman in Nebraska that found kind of a way to, get herself some free gas.
Okay.
This card was used, a rewards card. She was basically swiping it twice, doubling up the points. And it equated to 510 times that she used it, more than 7,400 gallons of gas were pumped for free.
So it's like if I went up with my Kroger card and rung it up twice or something like that, and then all of a sudden it was glitch in the system.
Yep, it was just adding on those points, going up to all the different pumps and putting on the points and stuff like that.
Oh,
and
it was through the points. It wasn't like this glitch. Okay. I see.
Yeah, it was through the points. So she found a loophole, which they've since changed how this works, obviously. In November of 2022, when they realized this was going on, she was finally caught and arrested. Basically what this is felony theft.
Yeah.
It's theft. I mean, you're talking $28,000 worth of gas that was stolen. So that's a felony theft thing coming out of Nebraska. Hopefully it's a lesson to everybody. Don't play the system too much because the system will play you.
Yeah, what is it, $2,800? Like if you steal more than $2,800
to be felony theft,
then it's a felony. So generally, if you are a shoplifter, and we do not encourage any of this type of behavior,
petty larceny.
Yeah, but if you keep it under that amount, then it's not a felony, and you're less likely to. I'm not giving any advice.
Yeah, I think anything under
Nothing
500,
like that.
$500 I think is petty larcen.
Yeah.
And 500 to that 28 threshold is like misdemeanor larcen. I don't know, but the fact remains, don't recommend doing it. It caught up to this individual stealing gas. That's a lot of gas, Art. That's a lot of free gas.
Yeah, at some point, that at some point they were sitting there like, the cat's out of the bag. They had to have known at some point they were gonna catch.
I don't know.
them.
People ride that high, like we got this figured out, man. We got the system dialed.
Yeah.
And then you play with fire, you're gonna get burned.
You will get burned if you play with fire. Everything catches up and has a consequence. And in this case, some sad news turned into some positive news. Most people are familiar with Jon Stewart and his three-legged, normally call them four-legged friends. His three-legged friend had passed away, one of his dogs. And the news got out, and he actually ended up talking about a shelter that I believe he got the animal from. Mm-hmm. And this was in the shelter's in Manhattan. And this shelter is a no-kill shelter. And so these places are overwhelmed with animals. They're overwhelmed with dogs, cats, vet bills, to feed the animals, training. There's a lot of money that goes out to them. And so apparently they had like a number amount that they were trying to reach for donations of like 50,000, something like that. And then it quickly went up to 60,000 and is probably even further than that now. But a piece of good news in the world to where, somebody well-known loses their animal, but then endorses this shelter, and then this shelter that helps so many animals out actually gets all these donations that's going to help these animals and hopefully help them find better owners, and so they could keep their doors open. So I just thought that was a good piece of positive news out there, and I love to see these acts that do inspire people to do good things. It reminds me of a little story about one of my dogs, nothing crazy, but in the past, I grew up, I had this tiny little teddy bear that I grew up with. It was like one of the polar bear, and it was this cute, and I called it Chubby, and one of my dogs loved this chubby teddy bear so much and treated it so nice. After that dog died, it still had like his drool on the back from where he would carry it.
It's all crusty.
Yeah, and I just kept it on there. It's still on there. I still got Chubby today. Miss you, Shannon, the Sheltie. You were awesome. Do you have any cool animal stories?
Well, you got me thinking about my Teddy Ruxpin that I had as a kid. I love that thing. You put different sweaters on him and stuff. And my black lab. So yeah, my little black lab, Devin was her name. She would play with the teddy bears as well. But when it comes to animals, I think especially this day and age with social media, with celebrity influences, and living here in Colorado, we love our furry friends, and they do a great job, I think, of taking care of furry friends. And I love seeing stuff like this, man. There's a lot of animals out there that need a home for sure. So like you said, darkness brings the light. Obviously, the death of Jon Stewart's dog prompted all this, but it's great, man. I think it's great. We got to take care of the furry friends. They need homes too. Yep,
and shout out to all the shelters, all the people out there that are trying to do the right thing. And what we have next is somebody that's obviously doing the right thing with their potatoes, breaking world records for Kev's Random Records.
I love me some taters. I love my taters. So the random records this week, this is a fun one. So a North Carolina woman planted a potato plant last February, so February of 2023, just over a year ago, and it measured in just at 11-foot, 3-inch potato plant. 11 feet, Art.
Wow.
Beating the previous Guinness Book of World Record that was set over in England at 9 feet, 4.1 inches.
Okay.
So that's nearly 2 feet taller than the previous record.
So you leave a potato in the fridge long enough, it starts to grow so it was very similar. Was the potato itself like 11 feet?
No, not the potato itself,
Okay.
just the plant. So,
I was going to say, that's a mega potato.
11-foot potato? I don't think you'd be able to lift that.
Mega potato.
Yeah, no, it was not. That would be a mega tater right there. It was not a mega tater. It was just a mega tater plant.
Okay.
Out of North Carolina. So I didn't get a chance to see it. You scroll down and look at this article. I didn't see any pictures of it. Pretty short and to the point that the previous record was set in Britain at 9 feet, 4 inches. New record's 11 feet, 3 inches on the tater plant. That's going to be some good eating.
Yeah, so the tater plant. So now I'm curious, though, is the 11-foot tater plant, is that tater that's produced from that plant bigger than the tater produced from the 9-foot plant?
I don't know. I just think it might be more taters of equal size.
Okay.
Maybe they're smaller, maybe they're bigger. Who knows?
I would like to think that the 11-foot one yielded a larger tater.
It might have yielded a larger tater, or it just yielded more of them.
Or of them. Oh, because one plant could have multiple taters.
Correct.
Interesting. See, I don't know too much about taters, and you're going to learn some taters here on Happy Friday America.
I love me some taters.
This week. But I do have a Would You Rather, as always. But before we jump into that, we got to cover the results from last week's Would You Rather. And I believe it was between, are you going to go abstinent, or are you going to stop hanging out with your friends?
That is correct. That was the Would You Rather for last week. So thanks for everyone that joined us. I'm pulling up our results live action right now on Twitter X. Be sure to head over there. That's at Happy Fry USA, so you can participate in these. So never have sex again or never see your friends again was the Would You Rather.
Yes.
33% said they would never have sex again. 67% say they're not seeing the friends.
Okay.
So 2/3 are sticking with the sex. I hear you, America.
Yes, we hear you on that. Thank you, everybody.
There was a kicker on that, though. They said, "What about having sex with friends?" But we got, there was a lot of gray area there.
I mean, hey, like, as long as you're having sex, I guess it's within the rule. But that's last week's Would You Rather. Okay.
Yeah, we're moving on.
Yeah, we didn't get into that, and so you guys can speculate all you want. But this week's Would You Rather is pretty easy one. But due to recent technologies, this may actually, create some thoughts. So, would you rather lose your keys, and I'm talking about like your car keys, your house keys, your keys are gone, or would you rather lose your cell phone?
Yep.
And thinking about that, with your phone, some people can use that as a digital key to get into their car, to do all these different things. You could shop with it, like all this stuff, or even enter into your house if you have it connected to like a home system.
Yeah.
So there's kind of these two areas about it. So which one are you going with?
For me, it's pretty easy because I don't have a lot of that stuff. I'm rather lose my phone. I'm keeping my keys so I can have my car to get transportation to where I need to go, and get into my house. Mm-hmm. I don't have stuff like that on my phone, or like those. There's those door locks where you can just hit like a number and it unlocks, so that wouldn't technically need a key. So it is case by case, but for me, in my current situation, I would rather lose my phone. I'd be able to recover that easier going to Verizon and doing all that than I would having to get a new house key made, a new car key made, all that kind of stuff.
No, I'm definitely going to go ahead and agree with you there as well. I am going to opt into losing the phone, and that way I can have the keys to my vehicle to drive to the cell phone's place and get another phone.
Correct.
So that's where I'm going on that one. That seems to be the logical route. However, maybe you're part of the digital age more than Kev and I, because we're a little old school over here. We're a little old school.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. But I could see the younger demographic definitely saying they'd rather lose their keys because everything is already a digital asset on their phone. So let us know what you think down below in the comments on the Would You Rather, or over on Twitter X at Happy Fry. The polls go up every Friday morning. We thanks for your participation in that.
Yeah, and that's 2 weeks in a row that we agreed on these.
Yeah, that's unusual.
That is unusual.
We'll see what next week brings.
Well, next article is vroom vroom, baby.
Let's go, baby. So I've always told my buddy that Ferrari is better than Lamborghini, and I will stick to that. That has nothing to do with this article, other than the fact that it has to do with a stolen Ferrari. So in 1995, there was the San Marino Grand Prix in April of 95. And after the race was over, one of the cars in the race was stolen.
Okay.
It was taken away from the race in 95, and it hasn't been seen until now.
Whoa.
And the only reason that they found this was because a U.S. buyer, he was consulting with a U.K. broker that was selling this vehicle to him, and it flagged that's a stolen vehicle. Mm-hmm. And so it's been returned to its rightful owner back in Britain. But this is a car that equates to $444,000.
Wow.
This is a big deal. So
it was stolen in 95.
In 95, it was stolen.
So almost 30 years ago.
Almost 30 years ago, this thing was on the loose.
Wow.
It ended up going to Japan for a bit. It was kind of moved around. Mm-hmm. It flew under the radar. It's just crazy to me that a race car in an actual Grand Prix, right, from Formula One, can be stolen.
I mean, somebody on the crew had to be a part of this. Yeah.
Inside job.
Yeah, like, okay, we finished the race. I'm going to drive it to the garage, and then, real quickly, let me go check the tire pressure over here, and then the car never returns.
Yeah, all they would have to do is load
Something
it up in a car hauler. Mm-hmm. Like, all right, we're headed back to the shop.
Yeah.
And then that's it. That thing's gone.
Yeah, maybe there were like some impersonators that were acting like they were part of the team, or maybe they were infiltrators that were actually part of the team.
It's possible.
Infiltrating just to steal this one. Is it a really bitchin' Ferrari?
I mean, it's a Formula One 95 Ferrari. It's absolutely tremendous.
I would have to take a look at this thing.
Oh yeah, and it's Ferrari red. That's like when Formula One was really hitting its mark around that time. But anyway, cool story. I mean, 200-mile-an-hour race car. It's been returned. It's kind of a crazy story, I thought, but it took a lot of organized crime units and some, detective work.
It took somebody
selling
messing up trying to sell it.
Yep.
Or else it would still be undercover.
Yep.
That's pretty wild, man.
Yep. They were trying to make another buck off of it, or in this case, 350,000 pounds, which would equate to 444,000 American dollars. That's a pretty penny.
That is a pretty penny on a pretty vehicle. And something that helps make people pretty is stem cells. And scientists are doing things with stem cells that we also saw in a movie in the early 90s, Jurassic Park. However, they're not trying to make dinosaurs here. Scientists actually believe that they can make a park, get this, with woolly mammoths roaming the grounds.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
If it's doable. I don't know enough about it. And speaking of pretty penny, 1.5 billion startup.
Yeah, 1.5 billion startup. It's a Colossal Biosciences is the company's name, and they're using elephant stem cells to reprogram. They want to reprogram the elephant stem cells and maybe make some mammoths come back to life. Look, we were seeing cloning of sheep in the early 90s, and this article got me thinking. I was like, well, are we still cloning animals? And yes, we are.
We are, yeah.
And mainly, well, Europe outlawed it for consumption, and in America and Asia, it's not completely outlawed for that. So then I'm wondering, have I eaten a cloned animal before?
Most likely. Grocery store meat,
you know?
A lot of that beef.
You know, so this is, it doesn't seem that far-fetched, but just
I think it's doable.
Just like they said in Jurassic Park, just because you can doesn't mean that you should.
Right.
But I believe that they are doing this in Siberia, in the Siberian area is where they're doing it, is what I think.
Well, they would need kind of the climate that was suitable for the species.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't think like a zoo probably wouldn't be ideal, even if you can recreate. You want to be in that where the woolly mammoth naturally would roam back in times, which would be where the elephants are at.
Yeah.
Right.
Or, and somewhere cold. Like, they have to have that cold climate, and like with the warming planet or however you want to get into any of that. I don't know if it's the best idea. And then, of course, they kind of make some excuses like this might help other elephants because we can't observe modern elephants and their habitats as well as we will be able to observe these mammoths in this enclosed area. Well, like, obviously, but also mammoths aren't going to act the same way that elephants do, and these, just because it's off of so there's a lot. I get more questions than anything. However, if this park was up and rolling, I would probably be like, and if I had money to blow and to go, I would go check out a woolly mammoth.
It's probably going to be pretty obviously already is expensive, and it will probably continue to be as this process rolls out. I'm sure there's going to be hiccups along the way, but I think that's cool. That's a cool article there.
Yeah,
didn't know that was even going on.
Yeah. And yes, we are still cloning animals out there. You might be eating a cloned animal. So, Kev, Mash the Gas is fully going. You're talking Ferraris getting stolen. You're staying autos right now. What else is up, man?
Yeah, a lot of motorsports talk this week and cars in general. So, article popped up earlier this week about driverless cars, which I've always been skeptical about. Okay, I'm a race car guy.
People have died in these.
Yeah, because it's dangerous. I don't like the idea of it. Again, I'm a race car driving fan. I love racing. Being in control of the vehicle is part of racing. And no, I'm not talking about racing here. I'm talking about just transportation from A to B, because people, let's face it, they're getting lazier. They don't even want to drive anymore. They just get into an Uber or they get into a car that doesn't even have a driver. But here's the problem, guys. It's not ready yet. The technology is no good. Recently, a safety group tested 14 automated driving systems. Included anything from making U-turns to dodging objects in the road. Like, let's say like a crate falls off a truck. How's it going to respond? Out of the 14 tests that it performed, only one passed. So really, that's not good numbers.
No.
And this was a couple vehicles. This was Ford. This was Tesla was involved in this. General Motors was involved in this. They tried a couple different manufacturers and applied these systems to the vehicles, and it's not looking good, Art. Most of them failed. And the biggest thing they noticed is it would end up going off course if it did try to divert an object, which then derailed its destination, or it kept ending up at roadblocks, dead ends, things of that nature.
Interesting. Yeah, when I was selling cars, and mind you, this was a bit of time ago, so not yesterday. However, we had these cars with like these auto driving systems where lane keep assist and automatic braking systems, and I've driven in a car with some of this technology before, and it was extremely easy to use on the highway, and it drove me from Denver to Colorado Springs no problem. Like 5 years ago this happened in a Honda. And so like the technology can help with certain scenarios of driving, but there was always that disclosure, like the driver still must drive the vehicle. And if you took your hands off the steering wheel, even back then, it would censor that you weren't touching the steering wheel, and it would start saying, hey, you have to put your hands back on the steering wheel. It would start like giving you alarms. So
stuff like that, I agree with.
So it needs to stay on there and drive. And I do agree that the technology is not there yet. No. I think the whole infrastructure of the road system would have to have sensors and adaptability in order to accommodate for AI vehicles to drive and function properly. So I don't feel like the infrastructure is there.
Nope.
The technology isn't quite there. And then there's too much trust there from these drivers, because you see some people and they're sitting there like trimming their toenails or like making a juice drink or something.
Right.
So
Twisting a joint.
definitely one of those subjects where it's like, this is not going to go away, but how much do people want to trust their lives with this AI driving stuff?
Well, what we're learning is it's no good. Like some of the stuff you mentioned, like assisted braking, like it's sensing that there's a vehicle stopping ahead. Lane control, it can sense if you're drifting over the lanes. That stuff's all driving assist that I think can work and have continued to work. But driverless stuff, what they're testing here, is no good. It's not ready, and like you said, the infrastructure is not there. I mean, look at Tesla. It doesn't even have enough charging stations yet for you to adequately drive from Los Angeles to Bangor, Maine, without having to, divert to charging stations. It's not ready yet. There's not enough for that for an electric vehicle. So we're, I think, decades away from being able to trust a driverless vehicle.
Well, and then not only that, but for this type of technology as well, the lithium batteries and all the rare minerals that are required, and the small amount of those mines that actually exist to produce these minerals, it's crazy all the different things that come from a new technology and the push for it to happen. I'm with you on this one as well. I'm not putting my life in the hands of any AI driving vehicle. I'm going to drive that vehicle. And just like our good friend Schween, he turns off all the assists. He wants that old school.
Same.
And what's up with standard transmissions nowadays? We could go on a whole thing about this.
Manual, I still drive.
Yeah, but having a manual transmission, you almost have to buy
all the assists off.
And also the base model,
yeah.
right? They don't even let you buy manual cars in the higher trim levels and stuff.
And good luck finding a manual anymore in 2024. I mean, unless it's a sports car and you're up in the Mustang and above category, you're going to find them over there. But the Ford Focuses, the Toyota Corollas, and the Camrys, and the Honda Civics of the world, those manuals are gone.
Yeah, no, and how much fun is it to actually really fully control a car and drive standard? So much fun.
I love it. I drive a clutch every single day, and I love my Ford. So, fun article. Be sure to, trust a human driver. I get behind a Lyft or an Uber. That's a human. Yeah. And even that still makes me nervous. I'm not letting anybody driverless, around me. And I'm not going to be in a driverless vehicle for the foreseeable future. No,
great choice there, man. I really like that one. Cool shit to do this weekend. What's going on?
Oh, man, if you're down at hot Atlanta, Georgia, baby, good old Atlanta Mushroom Festival is going on. I love me some mushrooms. Okay, I take mushrooms daily, both the magic kind and just the healthy kind. Microdose mushrooms, guys. I'm sure they're going to have some awesome shrooms down there in Atlanta. Go check it out.
Yeah, talk about accentuating the flavor. And one of the classics, that's right, 50 Cent. He's going to be in Tampa, Florida, Sunday, hopefully performing some of his, performing his top hits, man. And what a bunch of great songs he has.
50 solid. Tampa's a solid town. Great weather down there. Go check out 50 for sure. If you feel like boot stomping a little bit and you're in Kentucky, that's the birthplace of bluegrass, guys. That's where bluegrass came from. Old Bill Monroe started. It's the Great American Bluegrass Jam all weekend long in Owensboro, Kentucky. It's a big one out here in Telluride. That's a little bit later this year. Definitely check that out. And then just up the road from there, it's Bristol, baby. NASCAR's back at the last great Coliseum, the world's fastest half mile. It's one of my favorite racetracks, and it's back on concrete. No more dirt on Bristol. We're racing, baby. I'm looking forward to that one, Art.
Hell yeah, man. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it moving for the weekend. You know where to check us out.
That's right. Be sure to follow us on all platforms: Instagram, Facebook, at Happy Friday USA, Twitter X, as we mentioned, that's at Happy Fry USA, F-R-I, not like French fry. And if you have any questions, segment ideas, or you want to send us something, you can always go old school, hit that Gmail, happyfridayamerica@gmail.com. We're going to get out of here, digging out of this blizzard. Arthur, your birthday's on Monday. Happy birthday, brother. And happy Friday, America. Have a great weekend. Hit it, Fricashinas.